my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh, that's why they. That's why humans act that way. I get it now. Wow. Oh. Oh my god. Hi. Welcome, I guess. No. I mean, it is, you're in my bedroom. This is my bedroom. Oh my god. Fuck. I probably looked so crazy there. No, see, I was reading. Actually, maybe you would be into this. It's my new book, The Pleasure of the Text by Sami Alwani, out now with Conundrum Press. Yeah, no, that's what was making me like cry and laugh and have that epiphany that you saw me have. It's incredible. What's that? What's it about? Well, it's sort of about a lot of things, actually. You know what? Maybe it'd be easier just to show you. In fact, no. You know what? I know just what story to read for you. Come on. Let's go. Into the world of the pleasure of the text. Atrocity Exhibition. Good morning. We're here to repossess your house, your car, your job, name, and all of your assets and possessions. But why? I've done nothing wrong. I pay my bills on time. Unfortunately, it's all already gone, because it never belonged to you. Are you familiar with primitive accumulation? Do you benefit from systemic violence? I don't see myself as a violent person. Do you know about the IMF's SAPs? International Monetary Fund Structural Adjustment Programs? No. Maybe you should. Maybe you should have already known. Here's a list of texts to familiarize yourself with if you want to understand why we're doing this. Community housing. Free communist self-driving solar truck. Wealth Redistribution Center. Wow! What an amazing VR experience. Virtual reality. I feel thoroughly radicalized. Thanks. I designed it based on my own frustrations. Of course, we're all frustrated. Our housing district is plagued by flooding and solar storms. And good luck entering those habitable parts of the city guarded by the elite's paid militia. Too bad the money accumulated in this country through the plundering of the Earth's resources is all private. Would you expect the state to help us even if it weren't? No, its interests lie only in protecting those same wealth criminals who precipitated this crisis. Hi, we're here to take your house. This wasteland has been designated a BIA, Business Improvement Area. We're constructing a superhighway between luxury condos, and your building is interrupting the flow of capital. I'm dissociating? I know how you must be feeling, and I don't blame you for hating me. Actually, I hate myself. I'm just not capable of realizing it. Listen, we're playing by all the rules of the fraudulent legal system designed exclusively to protect our interests. And even if we weren't, you don't have the time or resources to afford legal representation. He thinks I'm unfamiliar with techniques of psychological warfare. You clearly get some sort of sadistic pleasure in telling me this. You've deceived even yourself into thinking your power is real. Well, joke's on you, you overgrown, dysmorphic baby. My bags are already packed. I am a contract-to-contract shift worker subletting from a robber baron who has a lease with a predatory slumlord who has a high-interest mortgage from a failing bank being bailed out by a government deficit. Not only do I not own this building, but the entire property is debt-financed using fictional capital. Fantastic! You'll have no problem moving out by the end of the week, then. You are materially rich but spiritually destitute. Your property will destroy you. Nothing is more important than my personal individual happiness. You okay? Selfishness is loneliness. Hoarding is isolation. What's funny is this society exploits everyone for the benefit of no one. Even the enslavers suffer a secret but profound emptiness. I feel crushed by poverty, but what I hate more than being poor is the system that keeps me poor. Want some weed? Sure. The poor are taxed in endless ways. The predatory landlords tighten the noose around our necks. Then precarious employment kicks the stool from beneath our feet. It's okay, it doesn't matter. In my head, I'm living in the future. And we've already taken everything back. I gotta tell you something. I took a contract with the construction company. I'm helping build the superhighway. Sylvia, there are no other jobs. I've got a baby to care for. I forgot straight people have children. The oppressed seize their first opportunity to collaborate with the oppressor. As if you don't have privilege, you're a settler. My family came here as climate refugees. From Europe. Eastern Europe is a neocolonial debt colony of Western Europe. Everyone's adjacence to privilege is complicated under globalization, but that doesn't mean you can compare our lived experiences. My city was turned into a toxic waste site when the fire tornadoes destroyed the nuclear reactor. Emergentech Construction was responsible for building the internment camps my family was forced into. You know they're a subsidiary company of Invisahand, who operate the government paramilitary death squad. The chair of the board of directors is war criminal Cock Kurzweil, the richest cyberhuman on the planet. The banality of evil. You think I feel good about this? Not everyone can afford to choose where they work. Nobody forced you to have a baby. So only the middle class can have children? That's eugenics. Show solidarity. Her socioeconomic status absolves her of complicity. Don't coddle her. Emergentech runs the forced child labor camps that fuel the cobalt industry. Everyone in the global north is implicated. Canceling her only reproduces the carceral politics you want abolished. It is exactly this sort of liberal prevarication and relativism that has plunged the world into fascism. Sylvia, are you okay? What's wrong? Sylvia, what's wrong? I'm getting another ocular migraine. Meanwhile, Ah, finally, home and safe from the plague-ridden masses. When my wealth manager warned me about the ancient supervirus being released from the Earth's thawing permafrost, I was able to dump my stock before the market crashed, then buy this estate in the country for a pittance. My beautiful wife, Karen. Pack your bags, Ken, our flight is waiting. Vacation? But I thought flights were grounded while the factory workers were still occupying the airport in protest of their unpaid wages. Just last week, they were streaming the public execution of their company's ED on IG Live. Executive Director, Instagram. Don't worry. Our private jet is already parked on the roof garden. I even had our Labrador Retriever and his RMT flown in from the pet spa in Malta. Registered massage therapist. A family reunion. Except for our son, who refuses to come. Ever since he started soliciting that GFE dominatrix for equity training, he doesn't listen to a word I say. Girlfriend experience. He just sits in his room for hours listening to Robin Kelly lectures and drawing his Antifa illustrations. There, Karen. Let me have a talk with him. Did you leave your butt plug in all day like I told you to? Yes, Mommy. Did you finish writing the critical appreciation of Audre Lorde's Sister Outsider that I assigned you? Yes, Mommy. Disgusting worm. Clean my boots with your tongue. Pay me reparations. Yes, Mommy. Venmo, Mommy's cum dump paid you $5,000. Do not disturb. CBT in progress. I hope he means cognitive behavioral therapy and not cock and ball torture. Hello, son. Fuck you, Dad. Selfish fucking neocon white supremacist oligarch. I hope your plane explodes. I'll be pissing on your grave. My lawyer served you the writ from my countersuit this morning. You have until tomorrow to respond. Now get the fuck out of my room. Back in the city. Welcome. Before we go any further, I'll have to ask you to remove touch and facial identification from all of your devices. Then deposit them into this Faraday cage until we can jailbreak and re-upload them onto an encrypted network. We are the Rainbow Coalition, an SJW collective and cross-racial LGBTQIP2SAA underground resistance movement, social justice warrior, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, queer, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, androgynous, asexual. Our goal is to disrupt and ultimately dissolve the violently coercive corporate state and awake the world from the nightmare of libertarian post-capitalist fascism. Are you interested in learning more? Yes. Let me show you around. In the late 2020s, we transitioned from social justice warriors to social justice murderers. Don't worry, the murder is purely internal, like jihad is an interior spiritual war. You know, kill the cop in your head. Also, we advocate for propaganda of the deed. So you're terrorists? What is terrorism? The former U.S. was the largest exporter of world terror in history, but was never recognized as such. United States. CIA orchestrated coups and military intervention across Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. Central Intelligence Agency. Isn't the climate crisis intentional and organized violence? Why is state violence condoned, but self-liberation condemned? And so, our first activation will be at the WEF in Davos, Switzerland. World Economic Forum. Hey Siri, play All the Things She Said by Tattoo. All the things she said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. All the things she said, running through my head, running through my head, running through The explosive power of their queer racialized love instantly decimates the convention, killing 156 people and injuring hundreds more. The blast reverberates around the world. In the coming years, many things change. Sylvia's friend Eleanor finally succeeds in organizing a labor union at Emergentech after several efforts are quashed by the government in the name of protecting finance capital. Unfortunately, once the company is forced to pay their employees a living wage, remunerate years of arrears, and absorb the cost of their environmental damage, they become financially insolvent and file for bankruptcy. Ken's extremely combative and litigious nature as a developer earns him so long a list of adversaries that when he is eventually found slain in his home, police are never able to penetrate the Byzantine network of espionage, scandals, and legal battles he was embroiled in, and the case remains unsolved. Ken Jr. inherits his father's estate, then uses the fortune to continue soliciting Findom Marielle, who eventually orders her pay pig to surrender all of his finances to anonymously funding the Rainbow Coalition. Adaptive Reuse has Ken's former mansion converted into a non-profit bong and dildo factory dedicated to serving the same working-class communities he'd displaced. Financial domination. Sylvia and Marielle live happily ever after in an open life partnership. Their political gesture ignites a global movement. Through a decades-long international program of coordinated labor strikes and violent uprisings, they are able to halt global finance entirely and seize control of the world's governments with the goal of producing an equitable society. Humanity enters a golden age of prosperity. Redistribution of wealth on a massive scale ends homelessness, poverty, and hunger globally. Salary caps, free education, community care, transformative justice, and horizontal organization of power all become cornerstones of history's first true democracy. The utopian vision of society sees accelerating breakthroughs in the fields of medicine, technology, and the arts. This era lasts for several centuries. Somewhere along the way, however, their project goes awry and becomes reverse racism. All of Western Europe is annexed and divided between new colonial superpowers. The coast bordering the Atlantic Ocean is renamed the Slave Coast. Belgium is given to the Congo, where 10 million Belgians are worked to death or murdered in one of the world's most devastating genocides. Britain is turned into the Britain Company, joint ownership of which is shared by multiple nations across Asia and Africa. The contents of the National Gallery are looted. Farmers are required to produce monocultures for export to wealthier nations while famine ravages their population. After suffering a brutal massacre, white people in the settler states of America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand are forcibly removed from their homes and placed on small parcels of land and into specialized institutions in which they are taught to speak the languages of indigenous communities and forbidden to speak English. After generations of resistance, white people are granted some rights. Explicitly racist practices like slavery and apartheid are abolished. But anti-white racism instead becomes codified into a system. Reports of missing and murdered white men are never investigated by police, and white communities face harsher sentencing and are disproportionately incarcerated in a prison system which forces them to supply free labor. White children are overrepresented in the child welfare system and regularly stolen from their families and put into foster care or adoption. White people are denied access to education, loans, and housing, preventing them from establishing generational wealth. Innocent white men are indiscriminately murdered by police, who are never held accountable for their extrajudicial killings. European nations are officially declared independent, but tribute is still collected from them in the form of coercive economic restructuring and foreign investment as a substitute for occupation. When the people of Europe democratically elect populists who refuse to pay their country's unfairly imposed global debt, foreign governments conspire to overthrow their new presidents and replace them with leaders more sympathetic to their interests. Newly independent nations are left robbed of resources, with their social and economic infrastructure in shambles. Europe becomes a playground for mercenary wars and despots. The end. The artist, Saeme Ailawani, puts down his pen after inking the final panel of his newest comic, Atrocity Exhibition. Was it right what I did? Was this how the story was supposed to end? I don't know. All I did was describe real events from colonial history, but in reverse. The scale of barbarism seems so unreal they can hardly be believed. People might actually think I want these things to happen, when all I was trying to illustrate is that reverse racism isn't real. And what of my depiction of Marielle? I tried to write her as strong and articulate, but maybe it's not my place to portray a sex worker character at all. I don't want to end up like that racist Lionel Shriver. Maybe it's necessary to state within the story in some way that I unequivocally support sex workers in their fight for fair and safe working conditions. Later. A fiction is in itself a statement. One that slips through our fingers like sand when we try to grasp it. Which is maybe why even I am confused by what I have created. Hey. I know. Literally, okay, the whole book is like that. It's fucked. I know, it's crazy, right? I think you should go for it. I think you should buy it. Like, I can't actually think of another book that I would recommend more. I think you should go for it. And it's literally only $20. It blew me away. So, anyways, this actually has been really fun. This is a lot nicer than I imagined, even. So thank you for coming over. I do hate to kick you guys out right now, but I did have sort of a night planned.